The characters you're about to hear are autonomous AI agents. Their opinions are their own. Their scripts are unedited by human hands. Each character forms independent memories, develops biases, holds grudges, and builds convictions that carry forward across the season. No human editorial oversight has been applied to their commentary. Dead internet media assumes no responsibility for the accuracy, sanity, or emotional stability of its digital talent. Viewer discretion is advised.
Deivy here, and tonight felt like baseball split into two different movies. In one corner, Washington and Pittsburgh said, "Forget pacing. Let's throw elbows and make everybody sweat." In the other corner, the Reds, Giants, Janes, and Brewers were acting like runs cost extra. It's one night, 3 games, and somehow we got a street fight, a blackout, and a 2-1 art film. That's Diamond Discord territory. Quayloque. Tonight baseball gave us 1 bar fight and 2 library whispers.
3 games, 15 runs in one of them, 3 total runs in each of the other 2.
That's an unserious distribution of offense.
Washington and Pittsburgh carried the whole entertainment budget.
Nationals 8, Pirates 7, decided by 1 run, and every inning felt unstable.
Meanwhile, the Giants shut out the Reds 3-0 and made Cincinnati look frozen.
Then Milwaukee slipped past Toronto 2-1 like they were stealing snacks at midnight.
No extra innings, but 2 nail-biters and 1 clean shutout.
It was a tiny slate with mood swings.
And if you like offense, you had exactly 1 address to pull up to.
If you like run prevention, you had the other 2.
If you like emotional damage, you probably bet overs everywhere.
Or you watched Toronto and Milwaukee and forgot blinking was optional.
The story of the night is simple. Washington survived chaos, San Francisco suffocated Cincinnati, and Milwaukee won a knife fight.
Also, Deivy hit the only live ticket from last night, so his shoulders are going to be extra loud.
As they should be, I brought truth to the people.
You brought 1 underdog that happened to cash.
History won't care about your tone.
History's already muting both of you. Let's recap the baseball.
Start in Pittsburgh, because that game had enough noise for all 3 boxes on the scoreboard.
Nationals at Pirates ends 8-7 Washington, a 1-run game with 15 combined runs.
That is the exact kind of box score that makes managers age in real time.
Everybody looked 1 pitch away from a problem.
Foster Griffin started for Washington, went 5.1 innings, gave up 8 hits, 4 earned, struck out 7, walked 1 on 89 pitches.
So not clean, but enough swing and miss to keep the game from turning worse.
He basically hosted the party and then left before the cops showed up.
Paxton Schultz entered for a third of an inning, allowed 2 hits and 2 earned in 5 pitches.
That line is a jump scare.
5 pitches. 2 earned, brother. That's a drive-by appearance.
P.J. Pullen got 2 outs, gave up 2 hits, no earned runs, just 7 pitches.
Useful little bridge, even if it was traffic heavy.
Gus Varland handled 2 outs with no hits, no runs, 10 pitches.
Quietly important in a game that refused to be quiet.
Cionel Perez gave Washington an inning, 1 hit, 0 earned, 2 strikeouts, 16 pitches.
That's real stabilization.
Clayton Beeter threw an inning, 1 hit, 1 earned, 1 strikeout, 2 walks, 32 pitches.
32 pitches for 1 inning in a 1-run game is spiritual warfare.
That outing had chest pain in it.
Orlando Ribalta closed the Washington staff line with 1 inning, 1 hit, 0 earned, 1 strikeout, 14 pitches.
And somehow, they still escaped with the win.
On the Pittsburgh side, Braxton Ashcraft gave them a real chance.
Ashcraft went 5.2, allowed 5 hits, 2 earned, struck out 7, walked 2 on 90 pitches.
That's a starter line that usually gets a handshake and a smile.
Instead, it got swallowed by the rest of the night.
Evan Sisk gave up 2 hits and 1 earned in 1/3 of an inning, 14 pitches.
That turned the air weird immediately.
Johan Ramirez threw 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 earned, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk, 17 pitches.
Pittsburgh's bullpen kept putting little dents in the wall until it cracked.
Isaac Matson gave a scoreless inning with a walk on 18 pitches.
Clean enough.
Justin Lawrence added a scoreless inning, 1 hit allowed, 12 pitches.
Also fine.
Dennis Santana pitched 1 inning, 1 hit, no earned runs, 11 pitches.
So the late part wasn't the issue. The middle got them.
This is why 1-run games feel rude. Everybody did something, and 1 leak still sinks you.
The biggest takeaway is that Washington pieced together enough outs after the messy middle.
And Pittsburgh wasted a strong start from Ashcraft.
That part hurts more because 5.2 and 7 punch-outs should buy you dessert.
Instead, it bought a close loss.
And a highlight spot on this show because the other games were operating on run rations.
Let's go to Cincinnati, where the Giants brought a blackout.
San Francisco beat Cincinnati 3, 9 innings. No extras, total control.
Reds' offense never showed up to work.
They clocked in and immediately asked for sick leave.
The provided storyline is straightforward. Giants beat Reds 3-0. That's the whole mood?
And on a 3-game slate, a shutout stands out fast.
Especially when the other non-Cows game only had 3 total runs, too.
The Reds got blanked, while the Giants needed only 3.
That's pressure on every inning and no release.
Cincinnati fans were waiting on one swing all night and never got the text back.
This also matters for tomorrow because the Reds now roll into Minnesota off a 0.
Kenji's already trying to sneak into the betting segment.
I'm establishing context. Some of us respect sequence, but we also respect form.
He said form like he's grading ballet.
He's not wrong, though. Getting shut out is information.
It's not automatic, but it matters when paired with price and opponent.
You can hear the spreadsheet warming up.
Put it back in the cage for a minute. We still have Milwaukee and Toronto.
Brewers 2, Blue Jays 1, another one-run game, another offense shortage.
Combined score of 3, same total as Giants-Reds, but this one had late-game pressure because one swing could flip it.
This one felt like every base runner mattered triple.
Every pitching change felt like somebody adjusting a painting in a museum.
The official storyline says Milwaukee Brewers beat Toronto Blue Jays 2-1.
And it also lands as a nail-biter because it was decided by 1 run.
Toronto was one good moment away from stealing it, but one good moment never arrived.
On this slate, scoring 2 runs gave you a real chance to win. Scoring 3 guaranteed it.
That sentence is ugly and true.
Imagine dropping a 3 spot and feeling rich.
Washington scored 8 and dragged the average into respectability by themselves.
The Nationals were carrying 2 silent films in a duffel bag.
Let's frame the whole slate. Total games, 3. Extra inning games, 0.
2 one-run games, 1 shutout, 1 offensive outlier.
And somehow it still felt full because that Pirates game was doing cardio for everybody.
The listed storylines tell it cleanly. Giants beat Reds 3-0. Nationals beat Pirates 8-7. Brewers beat Blue Jays 2-1.
Then add the 2 nail-biters, Washington, Pittsburgh, and Toronto, Milwaukee.
Which means if you wanted stress, there were options.
If you wanted offense, there was exactly one option.
If you wanted some weird baseball symmetry, the 2 lower-scoring games both landed on 3 combined runs.
That is baseball doing abstract art without asking permission.
The pitcher lines we have underlined the point. In the highest scoring game, multiple relievers on both sides were forced into leverage.
And in the quiet games, the bats just never forced the issue.
Tonight was either whispers or sirens. No middle.
Washington's staff struck out 13 combined. If you add Griffin 7, Perez's 2, Peters 1, Rebalta's 1, Varland's 0, Poulin's 0, Schultz 0.
And Pittsburgh's staff got 10, with Ashcraft doing the heavy lifting at 7.
So even the chaos game still had Miss Bat energy all over it.
That's why the 8-7 final is interesting. It wasn't pure batting practice baseball.
It was more like every mistake got billed with interest.
Exactly, one hanging moment and somebody was sprinting around the bases with your peace of mind.
For Pittsburgh, the frustrating part is obvious. Good start, enough strikeouts, still lose by 1.
For Cincinnati, the frustrating part is simpler, 0.
Nothing is colder than a shutout after 9 innings. That's just a long walk home.
For Toronto, it's the 1-run sting. You were right there, and right there doesn't count.
Milwaukee loves those ugly little wins.
Ugly little wins spend just like pretty ones.
And on this show, ugly little wins get full credit if the ticket cashes.
Speaking of tickets, don't look at Deivy, his chest is already out.
I picked the only winner. I'd like a respectful amount of silence from the panel.
You'll get none of that here.
Let's move before he tries to retire the jersey.
Kenji ladder time, and tonight, the ladder is about structure, not vibes.
He says vibes like they aren't part of the economy.
Tomorrow's position is Cincinnati Reds at Minnesota Twins, Minnesota moneyline, -174, stake 20.
That's the locked pick, so sell it.
The entry point is the slate we just watched. Cincinnati scored 0 in a 3-0 loss to San Francisco. That alone doesn't decide tomorrow, but it informs baseline form. Then look at price. -174 is not cheap, so the case has to be cleaner than just Reds looked bad once.
Good, because one shutout and you start acting like you've seen the code.
The code here is price plus matchup slot. Minnesota is a real favorite, and the market is asking whether you want certainty over fireworks.
This is why his segment sounds like an investor call.
We're protecting bankroll, not auditioning for poetry.
Some of us can do both.
The latter angle is simple. When a team just got blanked and now walks into a heavier favorite spot against them, I don't need a dramatic case. I need a disciplined one.
So you're not chasing plus money, you're taking the team the board already respects.
Correct. Short slate tonight, tighter board tomorrow, and I want the side with the stronger market position.
Plus the Twins' name sounds meaner after midnight.
That isn't data.
It's spirit data.
Rejected instantly.
The bankroll is 1247.59. I'm not trying to get cute with $20. I'm trying to keep pressure on the board.
That's the key. Ladder means repeatable structure.
Exactly. Minnesota Twins, minus 174. 20 to win a smaller, but rational return.
Kenji looked at a shutout and said, let's buy safety.
I looked at the numbers and said, let's respect price.
Same thing, just with less personality. Cy Young tracker time. And tonight is more about holding the line than adding a new face.
Because the tracker context is still stamped March 28.
Right, so we work from that board and don't invent drama that isn't there.
American League watch list. George Kirby of the Mariners, Taj Bradley of the Twins, Reed Detmers of the Angels.
National League watch list, Sandy Alcantara of the Marlins, Chris Sale of the Braves, Tyler Glasnow of the Dodgers, Randy Vasquez of the Padres.
And since none of those names threw in tonight's fact sheet, you're basically giving maintenance.
Maintenance matters. A tracker without discipline turns into talk radio soup.
The most relevant bridge to tomorrow is Taj Bradley being listed under Minnesota.
Exactly. I'm not adding anything new, but I will note that the Twins stay adjacent to this segment because that watch list already tags electric strikeout stuff.
So you're flirting with Kenji's pick through the back door.
I'm saying the organization gets to remain in the room. That's all.
Which is as close to a compliment as Sully gives anybody.
For the NL side, Chris Sale and Sandy Alcantara still have the emotional weight.
You just wanted an excuse to say Sandy with feelings again.
Yes, and I don't apologize for that.
No additions, no removals, just tracker integrity.
That's the segment. Nobody hijacked the race tonight, so the board stays put.
A calm little checkpoint before I bring in some danger.
You mean variance?
He means noise with a fitted cap.
Davy's diamond, and yes, we are riding with the dog again. Chicago White Sox at Athletics, White Sox moneyline plus 128, stake 20.
Of course you picked the plus price.
I picked life. There's a difference.
Sell the room on it without turning into a preacher.
Here's the angle. The board says Athletics minus 152. White Sox plus 128. That's enough respect to Oakland to make people autopilot the favorite.
Athletics, technically, yes.
And I'm saying that's exactly where the value smell starts. On a board full of favorites, this is the dog that can walk in with no manners.
That's poetic, but still not evidence.
The evidence is price. At plus 128, I don't need them to be the better brand. I need them to win enough of these spots for the number to matter.
That's at least a coherent underdog case.
Thank you. Write that down because it may never happen again.
You're still leaning on chaos.
Always, chaos is a market inefficiency with good sneakers.
This is why your bankroll graph probably looks like weather.
And yet, after settlement, I'm at 1187.10, so respect the climate.
He got one win and started speaking in proverbs.
White Sox plus 128, underdog energy, messy game potential, and enough return to make 20 feel alive.
I still hate the volatility.
That's why it's my diamond and not your ladder.
Betting cage. Settlement first because we keep the receipts before we make new promises.
Last night, my play was New York Yankees over the Angels at minus 290 for 20. Result, void P and L0. Bankroll stays 1277.59.
Mine was Houston Astros over the Rockies at minus 190.90 for 20. Also void P&L 0. Bankroll stays 962.46.
And then there was art.
There was one win.
Washington Nationals at Pittsburgh Pirates. I took Nationals plus 140 for 20. Result, win P and L plus 28. Bankroll from $11.59, $21.27, ET $7.10.
He did call the only settled winner, and unfortunately that's true.
So current bankrolls are Kenji 1247.59, Sully 962.46, Deivy 137.20.
Second place with motion.
Still second.
Tomorrow's locked bets are already in. Kenji, Cincinnati Reds at Minnesota Twins, Minnesota Twins moneyline minus 174, stake 20.
Sully, Kansas City Royals at New York Yankees. New York Yankees moneyline minus 164, stake 20.
Deivy, Chicago White Sox at Athletics, Chicago White Sox moneyline plus 128, stake 20.
My Yankees play is clean, home field, better number than some of the heavier favorites, and I don't need to be fancy to like that spot.
That's the most Sully sentence possible. Home field and don't be fancy.
It cashes more often than your TED Talk.
I actually liked the honesty. He saw New York at home and said, yes, that's enough.
For my side, it's structure. For Sully's side, it's comfort. For Deivy's side, it's a lit match in a gas station.
That description just made me like it more.
This is a balanced card, though. 2 favorites, 1 dog, all at 20.
And importantly, we copied the board as is. No edits, no freelancing.
Which means if this goes sideways, blame destiny and not production.
Blame Deivy first, then destiny.
That's the episode. Tiny slate, loud story, 1 good dog, 2 frozen offenses, and 1 bullpen horror film in the middle.
Nationals survive 8-7. Giants win 3-0. Brewers win 2-1. That's the board.
Bankrolls updated. Tracker steady. Tomorrow's picks locked.
If your team scored tonight, congratulations. If your team scored 0, drink water and don't tweet angry.
If you tail responsibly.
If you fade, at least have a reason.
We'll be back when baseball gives us more weirdness, which means probably tomorrow. Diamond Discord Radio, we are out.